Now you might ask me, why the hell did this mad lad made a new build guide for Bleak Faith Forsaken in the midst of 2025? Well, when you stream this game just to relax for a bit and you have 300 plus people concurrently watching, you have to give back to them. And this build created some chuckles whilst we were playing. By the way, you can check the entirety of the run right here. It was a one and done sitting of 9 hours. Pretty awesome stream if you ask me. And we were laughing our hats off, witnessing the damage and novelty of having so much at your fingertips that the game became trivialized. I will be breaking down everything and explaining what should be interchangeable with what in order to make solid progress even from the start of the game, because some things become available later on or you need more perk points, and I want you prepared for that in case you don't go the exact same way that I did. Now let's start with the stats. This is a level 25 character. This is the max level you can attain during new game, and as you can see I have 6 strength, -3 because of my helmet, 18 agility to have some stamina, 38 intelligence, that is plus 12 because of a piece of equipment, and 20 constitution because we don't want to die in one hit. With 20 constitution and the crystals that I will be wearing, my health will go well beyond 1,000. 1,000 is not very survivable, but you are a ranged caster and you don't have to worry about going into melee and getting slammed. As you saw in the opening clips, characters like this don't even have to worry in Bleak Faith. If you pace yourself right, they will never catch up to you, they will never be able to smack you. So this is the base from which we will be working, and now we'll transition into what is simple to acquire, and of course I'm talking about abilities. You will start the game by getting power armor. Power armor at 30 intelligence becomes as good as it can get, and it blocks 3 full hits for everything that is not a tick damage count, that is taking damage over time because you get incinerated or something like that. Then once you have higher intelligence, around 40, you can get Summon Elemental. In the meantime, you can go for anything that you deem helpful. Echo Slam is always a very good idea. Dash can be a very good idea because it scales with intelligence. All in all, wait until you have a higher flax pool before you go Summon Elemental, because of course it requires 205 in order to even be able to use it. In this build you can lean very heavily on summoning, or you can lean very heavily on DPS of your own. I will provide information on both approaches. Now this stuff is equipment. You want the Eclipse helmet. This is one choice. The other one is the Tech Priest, and the other one is the Iris. What I prefer is the Ellipse, because the Ellipse helmet takes away 3 strength and gives you 5 intelligence. 3 strength is something you do not need because you will never smack things in melee. You just want the Mind Flux Region perk. So if you have any of these 3, you're absolutely fine. This is preference because the counterplay provides doesn't really matter. And we want the Zealot set or any other light armor set. In Bleak Faith Forsaken, there's only 3 types of stats when it comes to armor: the light sets, the medium sets, and the heavy sets. I like the Zealot because it's both thematic and looks cool, especially combined with my cape. Now, I didn't bother to put crystals on everything here because this is recording on my PlayStation. The actual save that we were running on the stream was on the PC. But this is pretty much the template you want to go after. You want added health. I have a greater health crystal here and a standard here at the end. If you are in Game Plus, you can start crafting graders. Be very careful because you want an anomalous crystal to drop from a boss, and these are super rare. You can always recollect all the crystals that are available in the world. You can use this video right here to find them, by the way, and then you apply what you need. What I recommend goes in every single piece is a greater one for health, 10 max stamina points, 35 stamina recovery per second, sharp armor rating, and then more health. You will not need more flux. Trust me, you have infinite flux at this point. Earlier on, you can experiment with the lesser crystals, but at the end of the day, you don't really need more flux. You don't need a bigger flux pool. What you need is health because we are relatively flimsy. If you ask me about the armor rating, what I have gathered from playing this game for the longest amount of time, is that the bosses and the enemies that really hit hard usually do it using sharp damage. Even Belisarius, the second to last boss, is a boss that is more dangerous in melee with his swords than he is using his staff, and you would not think so because he's a spellcaster, but indeed this is the case. So put some sharp armor rating on everything, or if you want to be more versatile, put one of each damage type or duplicate one and put one of each other on the other two pieces of your armor, and you should be good to go for pretty much every encounter. When it comes to our weapon, just go for graters with Technomancy penetration. I tried pretty much everything, including the techno-casting speed that certain of these runes can give you, and it is not worth it. The only thing worth its salt when it comes to staves is Technomancy penetration, because you want to bypass the enemy's defenses. I even tried using crystals that would inflict frost or heat, and these would only trigger when I was smacking them with the staff as a melee weapon. What we will be using as soon as the opening click is the projectile. The projectile is what you will be using for the vast majority of the time to deal any kind of damage, and indeed you will be dealing a lot of it. So just go with tech penetration and you should be good to go. Now, the most important part of this build is, of course, the perks, and you can see that my fourth perk has not even been activated yet, and there is a very specific reason for it. This is the sequence in which you should be getting your perks. You go Technomancer, and you activate the every 5 seconds you restore 2.5% of your maximum flux upgrade when you defeat your second boss. This is absolutely integral to the functionality of this build, because early on, and when I say early on, for the first 10 hours, if this is your first playthrough, you're not very accustomed to the game, your access to flux is super limited. Before you activate or synchronize the first node, you can carry only 2 potions that will grant you a big chunk of flux and 2 via regeneration. So at the beginning, you want these 2 perk points to be assigned here in order to have flux to use your staff. After you solve this problem with a helmet and with your crystals and with your upgrades, you can, in New Game Plus or a subsequent playthrough where you get the Asylum Brew to reset your perks, take out the flux regen because you'll have a lot of lich, and put in more penetration. We want penetration to pretty much go to 100%, so no enemy will be able to withstand our attacks. Then you're going to go Vampirism and transition to the upgrade that removes the benefits from Health Lich and assign them to Flux. After defeating 4 of the bosses that provide you with perk points, you will be able to forego all need of using potions for Flux. The Lich, side by side with the regeneration you will have, will always provide a full bar of flux. The only way to expand any substantial amount is by using an ability. The staff we're using is the Asclepios, and this actually has 2 healing abilities that, if not aimed at another player or character like a summon, will benefit the caster. One is a regeneration over time, and the other one is an instant heal. Very useful, especially for traversal, since you have infinite flux, you can also have infinite health. But what I want to get to here is that even those chunks that get removed when you cast abilities will, via regeneration and leeching with your projectile, eventually refill your reserves, so you have nothing to worry about. Our next upgrade is Zealot, and you're going to go for the second upgrade that gives you plus 50% damage for your next ability cast. And you'll be thinking, do I have to cast abilities and spells all the time in order to reactivate this and benefit from the 50%? And the answer is no. The projectile is considered a cast. So pretty much every second attack you perform, you get a 50% damage bonus. And because Asclepios works in a certain way, it will apply 2 stacks of decay with the 2 first shots, and the third shot will be an increased damage red ray. You can test this stuff yourself and reach your own conclusions. The DPS of this thing is nuts. You can, of course, replace it with a staff of your choosing, but for me, it's irreplaceable when it comes to just abusing the projectile attack because it is amazing. It is super powerful. Now, when it comes to our first perk, you have a choice to make. If you want to go Summoner all the way, go Companions, and finalizing by enemies are less likely to attack your summons, so they will not get destroyed and they will keep firing. In this case, you absolutely want to use the Ring of Command, because this will net you an additional 18 seconds if you have 50 intelligence, landing on 108 seconds of summon duration. The summons will follow you around and their damage will be off the chart. The only problem is that they break down during a couple of boss encounters. They just lose their shit and they stop functioning. But you will be able to clean house yourself. You'll be pretty powerful by the time you have them. If you do not want to go Summoner, I would recommend you go Mindbreaker and then upgrade to the second tier, saying Mindbreaker also has a 50% chance to repeat initial damage dealt. Additionally, increase stun duration to 2 seconds. The damage you can get out of this if you're just a tad lucky with RNG is ridiculous. Granted, it's not as powerful on this build as is in my Tech Eye build, which is an archer using flux arrows hitting its staff. You should watch that. But it's still extremely powerful. To be absolutely honest with you, there are various ways you can go about it. You can even go Tinkerer to be able to use more concoctions and get more bang out of your buck with pretty much everything. But these are my recommendations, and as you saw in the opening clips, they're going to help you a lot. Just trivialize everything in the game. If you want to go God mode in New Game Plus and you have been thorough in your exploration in New Game, you'll have a ton of fun with this as we did. It took me a while because it was a new game, but by the 70% mark, it was just a cakewalk. Everything died left and right without much fuss. So this is it for Forsaken, my pure caster build made in 2025 by yours truly, because I love this community and I want it to thrive. BFF is one of my favorite games of all time, and creating more sources for it is like a calling to me, trying to help the devs get more great games out there. Subscribe if you enjoy it. I'm in cahoots with Archangel, so I will be giving you insider knowledge as soon as I learn anything. Until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers!